Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser.
And I'm Johnny B.
I am James Workshop.
And I'm Big Mech Dacker Bug Skull or something.
But together we are the yodeling force advantage.
Hey, we can't make it worse by pretending to make it worse, and it already is when we try and sync up on the live stream. Right, let's have a quick chat. Who's in the chat today? Rosie Raccoon is here. She's popped in her PJs, guys. That woman is not even dressed when she's talking to you. Behave yourselves now. Josh Wood can't make it again. Oh, boo. Remember to like the live stream. I love that girl. Axe and Axe, he's not around tonight either. Really appreciate people just popping in to say, I'll catch you in the rerun.
Yeah.
It's nice, to be honest.
Nick from Team Clueless Games is here. I think he'd done a review video recently, and I forgot what it was. Alid is here, of course. Good evening, sir. They're just chatting to Rosie. Subs is here. Drink every time I say Dakar. Well, more on that later, but you'll notice Big Mech Danskull is not over there. More chatting to that. Duncan FX is here. Hello, my friend. I will be in touch with you later this week about the commission. Winter Sky. Hello there, sir. How are you? Saffron69. Gary is here. Darth BS 101. Hello there. Alacrity.
That's
P
Anton.
That's
Anton Price. Yeah.
Anton Price. Is he French? Does he have like a mustache and a cigarette?
Yeah.
Awesome. Subs, join us today with Jason talking about small and skirmish gaming. So 6mm skirmish games based on those individual figures must be fun. Not quite that, no. Tony Holton is here. Hammond Jam is here. Howard Everton is here. Howard wants to see Reader's Wives show. He said that on comment on one of the videos. Get Rosie and Anne-Marie to do an unboxing. I said, no. Anne-Marie definitely will not be. Rosie would, I'm sure, but Anne-Marie definitely not. She goes to bed before the show's on to make sure she can't accidentally be in it. Plastic Crap Gaming is here. Wardrobe Plays World War II. That's Todd. I'm talking to Todd about getting him in on one of the Saturday shows. That looks like that's going to be a thing. Old School Boys Johnny B. Darth BS 101. You know what that's about?
Yeah, Anton. It's just Anton saying,
yo. Oh, I thought that was one of the other names. Right, that's Anton. Okay.
I think it is.
There are people who played single base 6mm out there. Not many, but a few. Yeah. Most of them have been collected now and taken to where they need to go, I think. My latest discovery, Mantic Vanguard. Jason might know a bit more about that because he doesn't mind handling a bit of resin, whereas I'm like, nah, I'm not touching that stuff. 7TV Freedom. I looked at that. We're going to talk about that in a bit. So, first thing to say is Big Mech Danskull is not here. Unfortunately, he's not feeling so great tonight, so he bailed. But fortunately, there was a lithe, young, handsome South African hunting wild animals out on the street nearby, and I roped him in to join us tonight. So, Jason, tell these beautiful people at home, because they've never seen you before, mate, who you are and what it is that you do.
Well, I'm Jason, as the Kaiser said. I'm an avid gamer, hobbyist. I'm super excited. Some might say overexcited about the hobby. I do and play everything and anything at any time. If you want to play a game, I'm your man. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So Jason has a channel for wargaming called Battle Knights, where you can see him regularly crush John, among other people, and also has a commission. He's a commission painter, and you do some painting videos on a channel called Painting Nights. Is that right, or is that just a company name?
But Painting Nights is my Facebook page, and what we use is the commission page or commission service name. But Battle Knights is my hobby channel where I put up all the videos of games we play, of painting diaries, that sort of stuff. And we used to do me and Mike used to do a thing called Team Clueless Games, where we used to get together and just talk about the hobby and the games, because he's very into Games Workshop stuff, and I do just about everything
else. Yeah.
That mini series was called Clueless Nights. There was an amalgamation of 2 channels.
Yeah. and it was good for the like 4 episodes that it ran or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike had to ruin it by getting married and going on holiday, and then we just stopped.
Now he's got a baby. He only paints red things now. Oh no, that's not new. Name of his channel. Clueless Mike, who you see on here sometimes, he has a channel called Clueless Games.
Team Clueless 40K.
Team Clueless
40K. Whereas Nick is also one of his friends who's in here, who's Team Clueless Games.
Team Clueless Games. Sorry, yeah.
That's
correct.
There's some
one of them
NGO. I don't know what that is, and I certainly can't pronounce. Go James. You read the Russian, don't you? Or is that Greek?
I have no idea what the hell that means. VUMNGO.
Who knows? Do the translate.
As they said, it's all Greek to me. Line Rampant, best skirmish game. Prove me wrong. Well, Jason, shall we begin? Line Rampant is the best skirmish game. Prove him wrong.
I probably won't prove him wrong, but I do really enjoy the Rampant series. I actually really enjoy it a lot. I mean, there's plenty. You got Line Rampant, which is obviously the medievals, but then you got Dragon Rampant, which is the fantasy version, and then technically, Pikeman's Lament and Rebels and Patriots use the same system, but for different periods. So obviously, Pikeman's Lament is the pike and shot era, and Rebels and Patriots is sort of the, so we say 18th century, like Northern America, that sort of thing. Where the French Indian War, that sort of thing.
7 Years War.
Are they really that similar in rules?
Yeah, very
for some reason, I thought Pikeman's Lament and the other one were completely different rule sets. I didn't realize.
Couple of smaller changes, like for example, when you fail to activate, it doesn't end your turn. You just move on to another. You move on to another unit. Yeah, it ends that unit's activation. Characters play a bit more of a role in Pikeman's Lament and in Rebels and Patriots. I haven't played that one yet, but I think that also has a few subtle changes.
Okay, same but different.
Effectively, it's the same game. You still have units of 12 or 6 guys. You still have, when you roll the dice, it's 12 dice for attacks or 6 if you're under half strength, that sort of thing. All still the same.
Yeah.
But why is it best? But why is it best?
Best.
I tell you what I like the Rampant series, one of the Rampant series, like for example, Dragon Rampant, using that as an example. What I really like about it gives you the basics of everything you need for a unit. So you can make any army you want in Dragon Rampant. You can make, you could take your Age of Sigmar armies. You can take your old Warhammer Fantasy armies. You can take any army you've collected and put it into a game for a system for a game, which is really cool if you were a collector of loads of different miniatures, or if a game you play no longer interests you and you want to try out something different. And it's really simple. You can teach it really easily to people. It's not a lot of rules. It's just fun. It's not competitive though, so you wouldn't be able to make a tournament scene out of it.
Right. And by not competitive, you mean it's not sort of very, very twitchy around points level, and B, it's not well optimized either.
Yeah, and also you don't always have control of everything that's happening. I mean, on your turn, you have to roll 2 dice to see if a unit activates. If it fails, that ends your turn. So it's like, I can imagine people flipping the table when that happens.
Yes.
All the plans.
Because what the tournament players want, they want things to be as deterministic as possible. They want to know the outcomes. Rolling high volumes of dice does remove a lot of the randomness. It makes things a lot more predictable. So if you're rolling 12 dice, you should be fairly confident of the kind of outcome you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I've wondered about those, when you get systems that are it's been a long day. I've got 2. This one's coming up next. This is the dregs of what I was having before I started. It's cold now. I'll put that over there on John's mat. Actually,
you bastard.
You can see it, but you can't do anything about it.
4 minutes it takes to get to you, my man. 4 minutes.
That is not my usual experience when you say you're on your way around.
No.
So one of the things I was wondering about what you were saying there, Jason, is like this is a later version of this game, but it's essentially the same game. One of the things that I think companies are often quite bad at is that they do that, and I like that. I'm a massive believer if your game system is not roll a d6 to hit, you need a 4. Then whatever you're doing better be a hell of a lot better than that, and it rarely is. It's just usually more complicated or just different for the sake of it. It's when they migrate a system across, they actually make some incremental improvements, and they're not making it back into that older set. So, like you said, for example, in Lion Rampant, if you fail an activation, it ends your turn. That's the kind of mechanic that a lot of players are going to hate. I mean, like really, really hate.
Just to interject, Subcommandant in the comments there has just pointed out that the 2nd edition is coming up very soon, and he seems to have tipped us off that it's alternate activations. So that changes it. Yeah.
But what's that? Lion Rampant?
Yeah.
Right.
The second edition.
2nd edition.
That's interesting because obviously they brought out it wasn't the same company, but they brought out a new version of Lion Rampant for the Crusader stage recently.
Right.
Which was still the roll to activate.
It was Dragon Rampant, 2nd edition.
Is it Dragon Rampant? Thank you for clarification.
DR 2nd edition, right? Okay. But yeah, that sounds like the kind of I've played a lot of historical games where you have to roll to get your troops to do anything. I don't fundamentally disagree with that, but the idea that your turn is over, and in most skirmish, I mean, how long does it last? Is it a 20-turn game? Then it won't matter. But if it's a sort of 4 to 8 turn game, losing your go by failing activation is a big deal.
Yeah. Well, the Dragon Rampant doesn't have a turn, so you play till the objectives or the units, the army's wiped out, sort of thing. Because otherwise, a turn sequence would be mental. Imagine made it a 6-turn game, and 3 of those turns you didn't activate.
Yeah. But I was just wondering whether Dragon Rampant is later than Lion Rampant, and whether that it feels like he's decided. Do you know what? I don't want it to end your turn.
It was later, yeah. I've noticed it's a very divisive thing because originally when I played it for the first time, I thought, oh my god, this is going to be awful. Imagine, like 2-3 turns in a row and you don't get to do anything and your opponent's just running into you the whole time.
Yeah.
But my experience of it playing it's that generally it evens out. You miss a couple of turns and you think, oh, I'm in the crap now. And then your opponent has the same thing will happen to them. It kind of has a Blood Bowl, kind of I don't know if you guys have played Blood Bowl, but it kind of has that, you do all your easy activations first, and then, or your easier activations, and then you go for the hard ones. Like if you want to make your knights move and they're not going to be charging, it's unlikely that they're going to pass, so you won't do them first, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's a whole tactical element to that. All I would say on that is having watched the battle reports on your channel, that's your experience, but I don't think that's John's experience because I've seen him not activate repeatedly. You're just having like a triple turn on him, and I'm like, "Wow, that's a bit brutal."
I played a game against Mick, which is on my channel, and I actually felt so sorry for him. It was one of the games we were playing, and he had a nightmare game, absolutely nightmare.
Yeah,
I don't think he activated more than 3 units the whole game.
Right? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
and of course, conversely, I had a beautiful game where everything activated exactly how I wanted it to. Everything came up 6s. It was like it was destined.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Even a lot of board games do like mechanics like that, but board games like that often take an hour. So those kind of mechanics, they don't sting in the same way. You just play another game, right? And you get different luck. And certainly people who play like competitive Magic, they're used to like losing in turn 3. Bad. You play in bounds, right? You play, but in a game like that, you set up and put down time. You're talking 3-4 hours, and having a nightmare of a game is a problem, isn't
Well, lucky enough, like the rampant games generally take an hour and they're done. Yeah.
Right.
Because you don't play very big games. Their standard point game is 24 points, which depending on what units you use, you're looking at about maybe 5 or 6 units.
Yeah.
And the game goes pretty swiftly. I will say it's not my favorite. I wouldn't say the activation system is my favorite because obviously I love alternate activation systems, but my favorite system is the bolt action system, the dice drawing, because you never guaranteed, that it's your turn next sort of thing. So you don't know what the turn order is going to be, which creates that really interesting push and pull of, oh man, I really want to activate this unit now, but if I do that and John gets the next dice, he could then take out that unit, or that unit's activated already, so you might as well just ignore it for this turn, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's definitely a kind of, what I like about that, it's fake tactics because it's gameplay tactics rather than real world tactics. But there's genuinely, you have to think about what you want to do, because you know that my tank, as soon as I move my tank from behind that bush, he's then free to move his tank and take a shot at one from its hidden position. Or mine at the moment, particularly like assaults, you have to prepare for assaults insofar as with bolt action, you need to wait till the other guy's activated the unit so that they don't get to shoot at you on the way in.
Yeah.
And
there's all little nice, interesting little things as well. Like when you fire your mortar as the last action of the game, and you're needing a 6 to hit, but you don't get it. And then if you draw the first dice, the next one, you could fire your mortar, and now you hit on a 5+ because your opponent hasn't had a chance to move yet. Yeah. That sort of thing. Little quirky things like that. It's really cool.
Yeah. But there's a lot of competition for what you want to do first. I want to shoot because it's a game where you get one tank each. So I need to knock that tank out. I want to fire this mortar, or the I don't want to go first thing. And I like it. It doesn't have much to do with actual battle tactics. It creates a tactical feel.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games that sort of start you and say, you are the commander of this army, but I haven't played a game where I actually kind of felt like bolt action does. I need to make sure that I make the right decision.
Yeah.
Another game that has a similar sort of feel, not similar mechanics, but a similar feel, is Saga Age of Magic.
Right.
It has another one of those where it's more of a game system, like a mechanical system rather than a real world I'm in charge kind of feel. But the way that's a I go you go system where you do your whole turn and your opponent does your whole turn. But you have these dice that you place that you roll at the beginning of the turn, and they will give you certain actions that you can do that turn, and sometimes really powerful actions or reactions and things like that. And it becomes a very cat and mouse kind of game, The more units you kill from your opponents, the less dice they will get at the beginning of their turn to activate.
Yeah, I like the sound of Saga, but the problem I have with it is what I just said before about the whole: if you don't roll a 4+ to hit and move 6 inches, you get. I need to learn it. I need to put a lot of mental energy into figuring out how your game works. And I struggle to find the time. It's not about whether they're good or bad for me. It's like I need somebody to teach me this game, because that mad world that we live in is like almost all of my games are on camera. I don't think I've played a game not on camera in a very long time. And people don't want to watch you fumbling around a game system for 5-6 hours and getting it all wrong, which is what learning a game like that's going to be.
And yet 4,000 people do enjoy that.
Yeah, but they're only an hour long now because we know some levels. is the thing there. I didn't talk about the hobby, and I meant to say what people are up to. I am building snake fences for the epic American Civil War stuff that we've got on our figures of Callistra. I've built the barn. It's the other side of the room. Sorry, James.
How many snakes were in the American Civil War that they did?
Lots.
Virginia,
Wow.
full of snakes, mate.
Full of snakes.
They didn't have all the Irish over there yet to go and get St. Patrick to shift them, move them on.
That's fine.
I've been getting a bit of that MDF vibe recently, so I've been doing some French rural buildings from TT Combat for our next bolt action Northwest Europe thing. Like £7.50 this, mate. Available on the Modelling for Advantage web store, obviously. This is Maison Belle, I think. Now, anyone who's going to get one of these, they do 3 of these: Maison Amélie, Belle, and Celeste, or something. 3 different like country houses. They're about £7, and you're getting what you pay for. You're getting a lot of building for it, but it isn't an easy kit to build in terms of the pegs. You have to cut little bits off and hold it in places to kind of force it in. So you're gonna get little things like, if you see here where the roof connects, you can still see that you can see the pins because it's 2 flat pieces pushed together at an angle. There's a bit of a gap there, but for like £7 though, that's a decent bit of scenery that should paint up. All right,
true fact.
Built I built those 15 mil Eastern European buildings for Flames of War, and I built one of those American style Dutch barns for when we play our American Civil War game next. When we play that.
Sweet.
So I'm a bit of an MDF vibe at the moment. What are you up to, John?
I'm currently just cleaning up some more bodies and whatnot for some plastics, some Perrys, and staring at the Romans. And
they all want to see bigger stickers, mate.
And the US Marines additional BARs, stuff like that. Bit of fun. And maybe I might have a little play with Sharp and the 95th Rifles.
Oh, because you got those War Games Atlantic ones.
You did.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's it really. What are you up to, Mr. Workshop?
I'm getting a start on this 3. Finally.
Oh, you love us this.
You're holding that rather dangerously, James.
But I do love a good sis. It is, yeah. So I'm painting the crew up a bit while it's drying and having a start on this mortar as well and a few bits and bobs. What are you up to, Jason?
I am painting some British Napoleonic Highlanders.
Oh,
they're for Dom, are they not?
They are indeed.
He is in the chat.
And I've got some Empire great swords.
Oh, nice.
And
gold swords.
A knight. One of these knights for Chronopia. Actually,
I don't know what that is.
I probably shouldn't have mentioned that, but yeah.
Bless you.
Is that like a new TT Combat thing that's not been announced yet?
No, it's a company that I think it's an old game that a new company has taken over, and they're bringing a Kickstarter soon.
All right, so you really shouldn't mention it. We'll stop talking about that.
I won't talk about it. For them. Chronopia, what a great game.
And what's Carla up to?
She is painting some scenery for Bad Squidder, some more scenic stuff, and Etherfield, a board game called Etherfield.
A board game called Etherfield, right? Okay.
Yeah, from a company that made Nemesis. I don't know if you guys know that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like it's like an oldie world game where you basically like Vikings walking around a dark area or something like that.
You'll have a video up sometime in the future.
Maybe.
Mantic Terrain Crate. Just going to catch up a little bit on the chat. Rosie has made some Star Wars hair ties. Is that hair ties with Star Wars pictures on? Or is that so that John can be like Princess Leia next week? Because I'm looking forward to that.
Ooh.
What's the crack, mate? Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. 7 TV. Does anybody know anything about this?
Nothing. I know of it, but I know nothing about it.
It's not Great Escape Games. It's that other one. Is it Crooked
Dice?
Crooked Dice. So I'm interested in that kind of generic rule system, which can allow us to play like Total Recall, the skirmish game. You know, Star Trek landing parties, come in peace, shoot to kill. You know, paint those kind of collections of IP miniatures that you love that there isn't a game for because it doesn't really make a game very well.
What I love about the 7 TV stuff is basically you're playing a movie. You know, you do a middle, like a beginning intro scene, a middle scene, and an end scene, and you have these quirky cards. It's real cool.
Right. Yes. So that's what put me up. I looked at it and thought this is quite an investment, and it's another game system that I'm going to have to put not just money, but a lot of time into. So I was wondering if anybody had played it. If anybody in the chat, wants to tell me that it's amazing. I've been looking around at these, and I'm kind of moving towards Wiley Games, to be honest, because that's very, very small model count as well. In my ever increasingly waxing lyrical about 1/35 miniatures, I'm going to make that happen this year. I'm going to do something with that. You still got some, haven't you, James? After the last time I was talking about this,
yeah. I've got some
lovely
Soviet
Marines in stripy jumpers and everything.
Marines with stripy jumpers and everything.
They're the best ones.
Yeah. Painting stripy jumpers is a lot easier in 1/35 as well.
So you're a 3D printer dude, aren't you, Jason? Now
I am, yeah.
You fill your house with carcinogens to encourage growth in your children.
Yes.
Hey, they're already taller than me, so they can shrink a bit.
They can be their growth stunted at this stage if the feeding bill is too high. What's the secret of a good skirmish game? Darth BS says, I've been stung too many times in the past. I avoid them. So let's deal with that question because it's quite interesting. And I'm going to go last. John, secret of a good skirmish game?
Just have friends.
Just have friends.
Have friends, and that will keep it going. There is no secret. We're a lot of people, a lot of gamers go with a trend, or some will stick with the game and stick with it for some time. But it's very fashionable, is it not? That made no sense, not even to me, guys. So take from that what you will. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know.
I'd say 3 different things, and I don't know. I'm beautiful, John.
Just choose one. That's fine.
You're welcome.
Continue. It's Johnny B's nuggets of wisdom. James, what do you think makes a good skirmish game?
I think it not getting too far outside what you already know. Like you say, it should be something relatively simple, something like a rule set that you already understand. But the ones that I prefer as of so far are the ones where it plays with something, just increasing the wound count and then increasing the damage for extra granularity, which gives you a lot of different character fullness between the different characters.
I think that was
I think a lot of games have a tendency. Yeah.
Thank you. And that's exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you, James.
Good. A lot of games tend to try and put a little bit too much character into every single individual model as well. There's a sort of here are the important 2 people and here are the not so important 10 people, and that's who we're playing with today.
I like goons. Too. I like heroes and goons. Yeah. When you achieve something,
More Time had a good system of that. Right. More Time had a very good system of that, where you had really characterful characters, and then okay, there's the 10 people at the back. If they die, who cares? Right. So yeah. I think, not playing too far outside what you know, but playing with a few little things here and there.
All right, yeah.
What do you think, Jason? You've got a lot more experience than me.
Mr. Skirmish Game.
I actually think it's a difficult question to answer because every person is different, and it basically comes down to what you want out of the game rather than what makes a good game. I feel the way I game now at the moment, I love more the narrative feel of what a game brings, and the aesthetic of it. And, the person you play against can also make a huge difference to how the game goes. When you're playing John, you're basically just playing with a donkey and a carrot, that sort of thing. But, when you play someone like Mike from Team Clueless Games, who is a very perceptive gamer, he picks up rules really quickly. He understands, the positives and negatives of things like that. So you tend to get a lot more competitive game out of him than, say, when you play me, where I'm more about what looks cool, how does it play, how would it look if I did this? Would it be funny if I did this? That sort of thing. But I'm still trying to win, I'm not just doing any old stupid shit. So, and if the game system you play can represent what you want out of the game, then it's a good game. If it doesn't do what you want out of it, then it's not for you, and you should move on to something else.
Again, that is exactly what I was trying to say.
So, it's an interesting one because I actually think John was right at the beginning, to be honest, and I'm very anti new rules. But that's me. That's a time thing. But actually, probably the game that I have enjoyed the most in the past 12 months is probably one of the worst game systems that I've played in a long time. is SPQR. And I've really enjoyed the experience. And it is a narrative game, and it has a campaign system. And the campaign videos are much harder work than the actual game videos because we had to get pencils out and count it. And it's all very bean countery. But the reward of being able to play, because the thing is that we've managed to find a game, although it's historical gaming, is because it's about dickheads with names of dicks. It's right up John and I's. We really enjoy the game experience, and that is nothing to do with the system. Because actually, if I was to rate SPQR as a game system, I'd say 4 out of 10 on a good day. You know, it's on its second edition, and it's still got issues around core mechanics not being very. Not that they don't necessarily work; they just don't play very well. They're just not very fun. They're not very slick, and so forth. So, yeah, I think it is. Unfortunately, it really is about the people, and the setting. So, you know,
and also how you develop the game, because you and John have developed it into a. Even though John's losing every game, it's still developing into but it's still developing into that humor-filled, experience.
Yeah, I hope so, and I hope that's coming across for the viewers. I know some viewers are gagging for the next game, and that is solely on me and my painting, but it is going to come. So just hold on to your pants. But yeah, say some more words.
Well, we'll rather than stick there because we've got a few questions tonight. So let's have another one from Howard Everton. This may be quite quick. Howard Everton, who has an awesome avatar. My wife's question: is there a valid answer? Can you ever have enough soldiers? If she's asking that question, you might want to get hold of her phone and check her text messages. But in my case, certainly not. No. Although I've got a lot better at buying. To try and for space and all kinds of reasons, I eBay like everything that I don't use now. If I can't see myself using it in 6 months, I put it on eBay. It's just once you get into that habit, it becomes automatic, and it vastly reduces the cost of the hobby.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! I'm a dreamer. I'm a 100% dreamer. I've got stuff that I bought when I started the hobby still.
Yeah.
And I still think I'm gonna do it.
This is true.
John, can you ever have enough soldiers?
No, it's very similar. I'm on a line. I obviously am easily influenced because of a low IQ. So what Kaiser's doing now is something I'm sort of slipping into as well. So, trying to. I'm still buying more crap. I think it's just a natural progression. You get to a reality. You become self-aware that you're not going to complete all this crap before you die. But it has to take time before you realize that. And you have to realize that yourself, regardless of outside input. But it will be there. So no, there is never enough soldiers. There is never enough soldiers. And you keep buying them, mate, until you realize that you've doomed yourself. And then you'll sell them all for half price.
Yes. James?
I think there are enough soldiers. I'm going to be contrary. There's definitely enough.
How do we kick James out of this?
How do we ban him from the channel? No,
can we mute him?
Build to a list. Build to a list.
Yes.
Just here are my 75 points. These are the guys I'm going to get. And then just buy like a few extra things here and there when you feel like it, and eventually you'll have 100. And I don't know. That's where I'm at the moment.
Surely that's contrary to what you're saying, James.
Well, it's not though, because
you say 75 points, but then you buy some more and you got 100.
You
then
plan 75 points,
200.
But rather than just like loosely buying whatever the hell you like, it's just like here's my list, and then I'll add something, and then I know I've got to my 100 points instead. Like I've got options now rather than.
Before you know it, you're sleeping on Sherman tanks.
Yeah, man.
Well.
Yeah, but you're not just buying the new thing because it's just come out for your army, right? Yeah. Because I mean, it's worse for James because he's much more of a historic Games Workshop player. There's new stuff all the time that you buy because it's new and it's exciting, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows. And then you look at that pile of Necromunda that you played 3 times and thought, I'll wait for the next edition of this game, and whatever else, and it just keeps growing. It's not so bad with the historical stuff. People are much better at buying a platoon and painting it or whatever.
Well, you clearly don't watch Dom's channel then.
I'm painting like 2,000 figures last year or something, almost all 28 mil, and a few battleships. Just slip them in there.
Now, with Dom, I want to call him on that. I want to see a painting video, a timed painting video. Because I reckon he's got all these just stashed away in a box, and then he whips
he's
out.
been in the shed, isn't he? Just
he's whipped. Nobody's
look,
seen
I
these
painted
before,
this week.
Yeah. I'm calling shenanigans on that. I'm not going to believe it.
I fear it's far worse than that. That actually underneath that shed is a dungeon with a lot of like little kids, Dickensian style, or he comes in with a Terry's chocolate orange every night and gives them each a piece, painting away.
He is here, so he can defend himself.
Yeah, but I'm so far behind on the comments. I'm like 4 pages away.
Damn, no, it's all right.
There you go. Right, yeah. We are dangerously getting to that point where we can't keep up with all the comments.
Oh, there are many.
But there is some sort of exception when you're like, when you're really excited about something. I think you have to make exceptions every now and again to just be like, yeah, I want that. I'm having that. Please, thank you. And just not worry about it too much. But
yeah, Ali, don't listen to a word you said here. You should buy all the Flames of War stuff as you always buy new releases from me. So, mate, you can't have enough. The new thing is what you need. FOMO, it's the bane of the hobby. Well, I mean, it is in terms of our wallets, but I don't know if it is in terms of our happiness. So let me give you an example. There's a Warhammer channel out there called Auspex Tactics. Any of you that know Warhammer probably know. Any of you that don't probably don't. This guy went from nowhere to tens of thousands of subscribers either last year or late the year before. It's quite a new channel, and it's got PowerPoint slides, and he tells you the news. And it's massively popular channel. And it's just a PowerPoint slide with a photograph of the new model and some information leaked about the stats. And what that says to me is actually there's just massive interest in the news. We are interested in the news. We do watch it. We do choose to consume it. And I think it's great that we live in an age where our hobby has news. Almost, I'm sure everyone here watches the Plastic Crack podcast. They have a regular news segment. They cover that. They cover that really well. And what's good about that is they have very different interests, so they bring different things into the mix with all of that.
What's that channel called?
What's it called?
The Plastic Crack Podcast. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how much I feel that the FOMO is the bane of the hobby. I think it's good that we live in an age where we can get excited about new releases, but you definitely get stung. I mean, I'm not Jason. I looked at Kickstarter when it was new and thought, no. I'm looking at the money I'm paying and the release date and thinking, my interest in this project will not last that long. Whereas you're someone who gets a half a ton of miniatures 3 times a year from Kickstarter, aren't you, Jason?
Yeah.
3 times a week.
We can see the wall of it right now.
I don't even have a key anymore. What I'm sitting on now is a Kickstarter delivery.
Kickstarter. Because the lead, I mean, obviously, as you would expect, given the nature of the product, they've got long lead. They've got the lead time is significant, but I'm just like, I'm not going to want this when this comes. It's just going in the mountain of crap that's not finished. So yeah, John, you got any Kickstarter mounds?
It's only a tiny mound. It's very small, like everything about me. The important things, anyways. Everything's very small. But I went into Crooked Dice's Colony 87. It was a series of miniatures that come out. I think I've spoken about it before. Ironically, they did one recently, and I even said about it. They're wave 3 or 4, I can't remember. And I didn't back it. So I feel proud. I'm likely still going to buy them, but at my own leisure when they come out as normal. But yeah, that's the only time I've done it. And yes, they are still in a box, unpainted. So, yeah, I get you there with the whole, am I actually going to be remotely interested by the time I get them? Not so sure. 50% of the time, I'm interested every time.
Yes, yes. James, Kickstarter disasters or successes.
Colony 87 actually looks pretty good. I can see why you would be like, oh yeah, I'll kickstart that. It's very Judge Dredd kind of feeling.
It's like old school 40k / as you say, 2000 AD.
That's very cool. Yeah, no, not really. I've got I did back the Resident Evil 2 board game, and I backed every single penny of it. I just kept going and going and going.
Did you get that delivered to the shop?
No, I got that delivered to my house. I did play it at the shop though.
Right. I remember you receiving a Kickstarter at the shop, and it was like 3 boxes the size of a washing machine. Like,
I might have got that delivered to the shop then, because it was 3 boxes the size of a washing machine.
I was like,
it's huge. But I have played
at the time,
I've used every bit of it, so it's I've enjoyed it. I don't think that's a disaster because I've played the game and I enjoyed it a lot. So
good.
Because I said to you when you was up, I said, "The hell is that lot?" And you just said, "It's a Kickstarter, isn't it?" I was like, "Oh, yeah,
for washing machines."
I think most of the stuff I've kickstarted was for Magic. So you're like, "That's a nice playmat," and then you get it 12 months later, and you're like, "Yeah, it's a nice playmat," and then. That's it.
Kickstarter playmat. Gary, we made a video on that, mate. Hobby resolutions. It's already there.
I tell you what, my Kickstarters lately are taking up a lot less space at the beginning when it's delivered, because I'm backing a lot more STL files Kickstarter now.
Right.
So they come delivered in email form, and then only once I print them out do they take up a lot more space.
Yeah.
It's a good plan. It's a good plan.
We have often thought it's come up before about like doing an episode on 3D printing. The problem is I don't think any of us, apart from you and some other guests, know anything about 3D printing.
It's a hobby on its own.
My first ever 3D printed model that I purchased, and I'm very impressed with it, to be honest.
But you purchased one that someone else has printed, that the company
somebody else has printed it. Yeah, I didn't print it myself. I put it on my New Year's resolutions. It's like a dreadnought kind of size kit.
Yes. I think I remember you saying.
But I really like the detailing's great. I would compare it to resin, like Forge World resin, but without any of the errors.
So. Without the extended phone calls to customer services. So, Jason, you're really lovely. You're really new into the 3D printing scene. Yeah, past 6 months, is that right? Yeah. So what do you take? So, rookie like me is thinking, I want to poison my child and get a 3D printer. What am I looking at? What do I need to know?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm absolutely loving it. I absolutely love my 3D printer. And the day it packs up is the day I'll start crying repeatedly. There's just so many cool things. Like recently, I printed out an entire Mummy King, sort of Tomb King's army.
Yes, that was what it was about, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, first one.
And most recently, I showed John a picture of it. I printed out for my friend of mine who does a Chaos Army for Age of Sigmar. And I printed him out this huge, basically chaos giant demon thing, and it was next to nothing. I think it was about $10 or $15 on my mini factory, and it took a while to print out. It took about 24 hours continuously, various parts printing it out. But once it was printed out, it's massive. It's like a 28. I put a little Zulu sort of British officer next to it, and it doesn't even come up to his ankle.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. The detailing is so good. The quality is excellent. It's light. It's fantastic.
So, are things very easily scalable?
Well, you mean like changing the sizes, like from 28 mil to 20 mil, that sort of thing? Yeah. For most part, I would say most of the miniatures are easily scalable. Obviously, if you take a small miniature and you go big, you don't have as many details to the miniature because it wasn't sculpted like that in the first place.
Yeah.
And when you go big to small, depending on how small you go, you could potentially squish a bit of the detail.
Yeah.
But for most part, I mean, we printed off a big base of the thing. We scaled it down by almost 2 inches for this big demon thing because it didn't fit on our printing bed. So we had to, So we had to scale it down about almost by 2 inches, and it was fine, easy. The what do you call it? The program is that you use to either put on the supports or change the facing, that sort of thing, is quite user friendly. I mean, it takes a couple of tries, and then you go, trial and error. Oh, I should have done this, or I didn't do this, or that sort of thing. But once you got that under the belt, it becomes almost second nature.
Because you kind of have a feel for the settings you're going to need to use.
Yeah, and most of the companies that you get files from, I mean, obviously, depending on where most of the bigger companies specifically, they all come pre-supported and are done, ready for you to go. You literally just click, drop, put it on the bed, and off you go. But if you want to maximize the amount of stuff you can print at a time, you might want to rotate it and maneuver it and drop little things in. And if you go to Thingiverse, a lot of the times on Thingiverse, you might not be getting what you think you're getting. Like I remember we printed off some stuff with John, and the first one we printed off failed horribly, like really bad. I mean, the guy's face was disappeared, his foot disappeared, he had really weird blemishes all over his side, and because the supports wasn't right. But we just took a gamble, thought, oh, maybe the guy's done the supports. He didn't. And then Carla had to sit and figure it out and put on the supports where, like, for example, if the dude's arm's up here, you need to put supports underneath it to make sure that it stays there, that sort of thing. And once she did that, we printed off the same figure again, and they came out perfectly, didn't they, John?
No, not really.
I can't remember what it was, though. Some fucking dirty or something.
It was not the 12. It was the I actually have some on my desk here. The Battlemaster's halberdiers, which are standing static like this. Somebody had done a rehash of it, so they haven't got the shield, but they got the in fact, there he is. They have the halberd out.
Oh, like right. That. So it's in the same.
So they've just remodeled it. Yeah, it's not a perfect sort of rehash of it, but it's kind of cool. And they'd also done using the same body and head and everything as swordsman, with sort of a motif shield. And I got 12 of those each to give me options for, not that I've done anything with them, for the likes of Dragon Rampant, Lion Rampant, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. 12 is the magic number. Yes, it is.
Dragon Rampant, yeah. Well, so skirmish games, Jason, you play... You classify, you said you got 3 different sizes. What makes that difference? What to you is a skirmish game? Because I don't think I've seen you play models with like 5-10 models. I don't think I've seen you play many games like that.
I tend to. I mean, to start with, I've started out as a mass battle fantasy gamer. And I love my rank and flank mass battle games. It's what I got that drew me into the hobby, and I'm forever enjoy playing that. But one of the things that rank and flank games don't allow you to do is really interact with terrain much. Like it's basically Tetris on a table with blocks. But when you go to skirmish games, like I think of Mordheim and Necromunda and those type of things as skirmish games, where you have a gang or a group of individuals that can grow and change and become better or worse depending on how bad you are as a gamer. Yeah. So it's almost like a mini role play game is what I think of skirmish games. Where mass skirmish is where you don't have ranked up units, but you still have an army as such. It's so not really an army, but
bolt action, that kind of thing in that category.
Where instead of moving one guy as your activation, you're moving a group of guys of say 10 or 15 or 12, as John says, is the magic number, and the rampant games where you move that, and that's what I call mass skirmish. Ironically, there's a game that I have that I want to start playing. It's called Deus Vault, and
God's will.
They do a rank and flank version, but they also do let's call it a mass skirmish version, which is called Burn and Loot. And in that game, you can change from mass skirmish, where you have a unit of 20 guys running around on circular bases, or whatever, to if you want to form up into a rank and flank sort of system. And I'm quite intrigued to try that. So it's like to see what happens, how does that interact with each other, where you have a unit of say 12 knights all in skirmish formation, say charging a unit of 20 infantry who are ranked up and have rank bonuses and all that sort of stuff.
Interesting.
Right. Because I in terms of gameplay, for me, the skirmish type games, the bigger the game for me, the more abstract I want the rules. And that runs into problems. So if you look at what you would call rank and flank games, it's one of the problems with Warhammer I kind of had and still have, even though they don't put them in ranks anymore, is you've got 30 orcs who are going to take 5 attacks. Okay, so I'm going to roll 150 dice now, am I? All right.
Yeah.
Please hold. That's whereas if you were playing an ancient system with similar numbers of models, they'd say, and that's hand weapons versus spear and shield. You're on a +1. Roll 1 dice. Do you know what I mean? That they deal with that in a very different way, and it'd be much more about a lot of mass battle, ancients and medieval stuff. It's more about how the line moves, and then a break is created. At which point, usually you can roll up the army because of the way the modifiers work or whatever. And those games. The problem with those games is they tend to be therefore they're quite different and they require a lot of thinking. Whereas you kind of mass type skirmish games, your 50 models aside, this guy is firing his bow at that guy. I can cope with that we're dealing with it on that scale. But that's sort of my feelings on that. Have you played many mass battle games, John?
Mass battle? Not to the level of you're talking. Like, I think I dabbled with a bit of Warhammer Ancient, but again, it was the same sort of system.
Yeah.
That was.
We played an interesting one at what was that show we went to last year?
We went. It was the one me, you, and Michael went to.
Selwig, South London War Game, which was in North London.
We played an interesting one there. I can't remember what it's called now, but. Can you remember what it's called?
I can't either, but you were fizzy about it. That was one of the games you really wanted to go and see.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Yeah. The problem I have with those type of historical rank and flank games is that, like Michael was saying, it's more about the line pushing forward and finally breaking to then roll up that can take up to 2-3 hours and these sort of things.
Where you play this.
Yeah, we're just grinding away until one person breaks. Whereas like mass skirmish games, you can get a game done in an hour and a half sort of thing. So again, it comes down to what you want out of the game.
But
I would like the spectacle of that. What Michael was saying.
That's why I wanted to do the American Civil War thing, and why we're going to go back to it, because Black Powder has got very, very simple mechanics. It really is a beer and pretzels game. It's like you need a 6 to disorder and a 3 to cause a wound, and you've only got 10 units. It's actually the actual mechanics are not the thing. You get that spectacle because I think that is you know, at some point, all of us as little boys went into a model shop somewhere and was like, I saw a photograph and was like, I want that. Right?
Yeah, man.
And my hobby has really changed. When I first started playing Warhammer,
was that photograph on the top shelf?
Photograph on the top shelf.
No, that's a different thing. That's a different thing.
It's a different thing. It's a different thing. So I say we're under my dad's bed, mate. I ain't on the top shelf. That spectacle. But interestingly, when I first started playing John before the channels, and John's very into like Battlefield knickknacks and stuff like that. And I was going through a bit of a phase where I was getting absolutely sick to death of Battlefield terrain. Didn't do anything. So that one tree does nothing. That patch of rough ground there, it has no in-game effect. So again, it just annoys me that my models don't fit on it well. You know, they don't fall over or whatever. Whereas I've completely moved through that. That was me kind of getting back into wargaming and taking that competitive edge. I think a lot of people start there. They start quite competitive without intending to. And now I'm much more interested in how pretty the battlefield is.
Mate, you helped me arrange the piglets and stuff and the carrots.
Yeah, exactly.
The carrots that nobody can see. Oh,
carrots that nobody can see. Exactly. That spectacle of it, definitely. And that's unfortunately the thing that you don't get. Another reason why I want to go to 135th for skirmish games is because it's prettier. It's much prettier. But in bolt action, is particularly bad, I think. Often we try and make the board look nice, but the figures are all in like camouflage type or beige, greeny uniforms. They're not supposed to be very clear.
I'm still convinced there was no figures on that Japanese American game.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see, we worked really hard at laying out that board and so forth to try and make it, and we were pointing all the time, but of course the camera was so low. You couldn't see our hands pointing to the miniature. If anyone's watched that, our first game of firefighting, which is the single figure activation bolt action system, you really couldn't see what was going on.
I'm convinced that was a piss take. I think you guys were just playing a fool on everyone.
Yes, mate.
We were actually just playing magic on the side and saying bolt action type words. So I wasn't actually sure whether we should do that again because I don't know whether you can watch it really.
Well, you're talking about scales though. So this is 28mm, right, on the camera. What happens? No, I'm just thinking. What happens if we do that?
It goes blurry.
It does go blurry at the moment, but yeah.
Because it can focus on the near thing or the far thing. Which will cause if you're saying put the cameras closer.
There's 35mm. There you go.
They're the same model. One's being held slightly closer. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, look at that. This one is close, and this one is small, and this one is far away. Yes.
John trick me like that.
Google. Kaz is currently filming a Learn to Play ASL squad. No, because I played ASL as a boy, and it damaged me. I feel like I was an abused boy in the wargaming world.
I was about to say you were obviously using it wrong.
We got some pictures. We didn't do the pictures. Do we do the pictures?
1.5 minutes. Quick fire round.
1.5 minutes.
Go.
Quick fire
to put up a collage of pictures.
The pictures were a backup. We didn't need them.
Let's show the pictures. Let's show them the picture. Johnny B's pictures. Here we go. Look, Johnny B sent a picture.
Whenever I'm on the screen, what is this?
So this is because
yeah, exactly.
No, this is because Jason is getting quite fizzy about the potential return of the old world of Warhammer. So much so that he's gone up in the loft and pulled down his extremely big
easy.
Can I interrupt you, John? I got a reasonably funny. It's not that funny, but I thought it was amusing. On my old channel, which is Gaming Nights, I used to do my hobby stuff on there, but then I changed it to a board game channel, and then I started Battle Nights for specifically my battle hobby stuff. Yeah. On there, I did a video of my showcase of my Empire army. That was 7 years ago, almost to the day, right? I brought that army down the other day, and I thought, I wonder what I've done since that video. I had a look, and then I put on the video. I laid out all the figures in front of me. I put on the video, and I looked at it, and I went, right, I've not painted shit all in 7 years for this army.
You put them in a box, and you put them up in the loft. So that's why I sent you a picture of that.
Look at these shady-looking guys with dodgy mustache. This is like a
Mate.
sex offender lineup, mate.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
we love that.
We love that.
That's why I sent you that picture, because
right, and here they are.
So here are these are the Caesarean Romans I've been working on.
Yeah. What you should have been working on, Caesarean Romans.
I have 3 done.
Haven't.
No, I just picked up some Perry's. It was sort of mainly because I watched the Plastic Crack podcast. So there's a bit of that Blame Martin involved.
Yeah. Look at this guy's like, who turned the lights off?
Oh, mate, don't zoom in. Some of them have got like eyeballs on their eyelids and stuff. It's pretty grim, I tell thee.
I'm glad they're carrying pilums. I'm glad they're carrying pilums.
Yes, they are, mate. Yeah, big old pilum piler.
A bill
for taking those dirty Celts down, Gauls down. But yeah, it's just a unit of 12. The intention is not to use them for anything other than dragon / lion rampant. They're quite generic. I have done them the livery of a Lancastrian though, but I can't remember. Beaufort, Duke of Somerset or something.
Let's just everyone tick Martin and harass him repeatedly.
Is that Margaret Beaufort's husband?
Possibly. But anyway,
I think he's dead in like the first 10 minutes of the Wars of the Roses.
Nice.
He's dead, as far as I'm aware. He's dead at the first Battle of St Albans, which is the initial blow.
First battle. Yeah.
It's literally. It's not even a battle. It's a fight. It's a brawl in St Albans.
It's a board game. Grab the King.
Grab the King. Yes, Grab the King.
It's Grab the King board game.
Is it actually a game called Grab the King?
No. But I mean, that battle is basically a Grab the King board
game.
There
should be, and you should develop that game, because that would be a great game. Grab the King,
based upon St Albans.
Could play Benny Hill music in the background.
Do your Battlefield tour if you want, John. First Battle of St Albans. I'll walk you around and show you what happened.
Yeah, mate. I had a little walk down there on Sunday. Actually, I was like, oh, people died on this bit somewhere.
Yeah, they did. Right in front of that church. That's where
it was great. So yes, these are quite
what
generic.
the hell's this?
Right, so that's work, and I can actually talk about it because it's not a confidential project. So this is what I do as a professional model maker. I install bits of brass into plastic. This is called Art Hotel, and it's actually already under construction in Londinium. But yeah, basically all those little bits of brass are for when we blow wind at it. The wind will get taken into those wonderful tubes, down those black tubes, into some shenanigans, and then crunch out some numbers for our engineers to do wind wizardry, and then we can tell the engineers what sort of grade steel, glass, whatever they need to make that canopy not fall down and stuff.
There you go.
It's great. So that's professional model maker. Woo!
Right. There we go.
All right. Yeah, that is how I live my life. That's my mantra. That's basically what it is boiled down to. And I think you should all take note of that and do it yourselves if you haven't already.
There we go. Johnny V's proprietary widget there. That was fun. Thank you for that, John. Duke of Somerset, mate, dead.
Is that him? Yeah, he dies. So I'm basically building an army to play a 30-minute skirmish, and then tell them.
I'm pretty sure everyone in that battle died eventually.
Mate, no.
We've been saying earlier we don't want any games that last longer than an hour. So if we base it on a war that lasted an hour, then we're in, right?
Yeah, I mean that definitely is a mass skirmish game. It was, I think, decisively. I think Warwick breaks through a garden wall to get round the back to get the king.
Yeah, mate. It took like 600 dudes round the back and jumped on the guys.
Round the back. Hey.
Yeah, it was a fine sacrifice by Warwick. took each and every one of them.
Took each of them round the back.
I might have been reading something else. I'm not sure.
So what have we got coming up in the pipeline? I'm not entirely sure because the little boy is poorly, and last week's filming schedule went kaput because we filmed a Kill Team game. We got to the end of round 2 and discovered the cameras had stopped. So, and it was 10 o'clock at night. We
had to tap out of that one,
and we were going to film that tomorrow night. But my little boy is poorly, so John's not going to come here to the House of the Plague Den, just in case, really. So we've got some stuff in the tank, but it might have to be an unboxing, probably Strontium Dog.
Haven't you got a wonderful game against said gentleman in this corner?
We've got a game of Mortal Gods, but that I have not quite finished.
It's going to be good, though.
I can't remember. But I'll need to look into it because I was going to put this Kill Team game out on Friday. That was the original plan. Because it's new for everyone. Right, in terms of the live show, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. When we got on, I forget the name of the company, and I'm sorry about that. But when we went to Warlords Open Day, there was a guy and his wife, and they have developed an app for bolt action army list creating. Now, I did say to them, in what way is it better than Easy Army? That's everybody's first question, right? There is already, but this they are doing in conjunction with Warlords. So I don't know what stage he's at with this app, whether it's been made public yet, but they're going to come on and they're going to talk to us a little bit about it. It's always nice to hear from people that are working in the industry. I can't tell you that it is or isn't better than Easy Army stuff because they've got pretty much everything and it's quite easy to use. But you know, it's a new thing. It'll be nice to hear from them what they're going on, and it's always nice to see people, you know, husband and wife team where they're not like killing each other and they work together. That seems great.
Well, we'll find out in a couple of weeks.
I work with my wife.
So we did mention the other thing about the new year. Although we're only having this show once a fortnight, we're also once a month intending to have a Saturday show, which might better suit some international audiences and might allow us to get US guests on the show is more important. Probably in most cases, it'll end up being the same sort of time. First guest we've got is Harry from Fog of War, believe it or not, because there's so much Flames of War stuff coming out in February. For those of you that are interested, you know, there's a big roadmap for this year, but it starts with the relaunch of the mid-war stuff, the North Africa stuff. There's loads of box sets. There's not a lot of new material coming out, but it's much cheaper to get into it. I think if you're interested, that's a big take from what I'm seeing. If you're looking to start mid-war, there's so many more accessible ways at a much lower cost to get into it, which I'm excited about. And we'll talk through that. And then the other stuff that's due later in the year, we'll have a chat with Harry. And then the next show here on the Tuesday, I think is Friends of General Haig is going to do the war stories with Kaiser. And we're going to talk about the Battle of Edge Hill. I think we were doing. I think it was Edge Hill.
Sounds right.
He's got some slides and everything. He's a lot more pro than me just talking to a guy about it. And so we're hoping to do one of those once a quarter, which is a bit like the episode with Kenny Fell or when we did the Carthaginians. It's going to be a battle report of a real battle from somebody who knows that battle very well. And he's like a sealed knot pro, isn't he? He's well into the Wars of the Roses stuff. So that's
and I'm a balloon knot.
And you're a balloon knot. Well, that is an interesting fact for everyone to have learned. That's about it from me. Anybody want to say any final remarks, John?
No, I just said it. I'm a balloon knot.
James?
There's some rumors out for Old World War today, so if that's what you're into, Old World, then there's a start. Sorry,
the
Old
Warhammer
World,
stuff.
Warhammer Old World, yeah. So there's a Orcs and Goblins versus Empire box. Apparently, is the new starter box.
Oh,
really?
Apparently so. Also, talking about Old World, if you're into it, there's a Warhammer Armies project, which is an unofficial version of the game. It's not the 9th ed one. It's just an unofficial one. It's fantastic. I definitely recommend having a look at that.
Right. Okay.
There we go then.
All right.
And also, if you want to see more Johnny B, I've got a Anglo Zulu War battle report coming out this week with me and him and his fantastic naval brigade.
Yeah. No spoilers. That was a bit of fun.
Naval brigade, sir. You took some ratings on an adventure.
Oh yes,
right.
A great adventure.
Did you have a Gardner gun, sir?
Have a what?
A Gardner gun.
No.
Oh,
far from it. You will see. But it's epic.
But it's epic. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.